Please be seated. Good evening. I'm Stephen House, Provost and Executive Vice President. Welcome to all of you. This is a great time of year to be an academic administrator. It is the season of celebration and awards and chicken. At this evening's event, we are celebrating outstanding academic achievement in all disciplines. Students, you should be proud of your accomplishments. We most certainly are. I also want to recognize and congratulate the alums, staff, and faculty members who will be inducted. Well done. I also want to recognize and thank the parents, the faculty, and staff who are here this evening. Your support and encouragement of our students have been critical. Finally, I'm pleased that Dr. Russell, LD, is the keynote speaker this evening. I look forward to the challenging words that he will be sharing with you. Students, you represent some of the best minds of Elon University, some of the best minds that we have to offer the world. And the world needs your intellect, your creativity, your leadership, and your caring. Tonight, I thank you all for choosing the path of passionate curiosity and academic excellence. As provost, one of my major duties is to challenge each and every student at the university to be passionately curious and to choose the path of academic excellence. You have chosen that path, and now I need your help. I need you to light a fire under every Elon student and challenge them to be curious and to pursue excellence. And all I ask for you to do is tell your story. How did you come to this point in your life? What have been your experiences, your classwork, your organizations, your study abroad, your internships, your research? How did you come to choose the path of curiosity and excellence? Telling your story will light the flame in others. Both President Book and I tell stories all the time. We are always talking to groups of students. And our biggest joy is telling the stories of our students. We regularly say that Elon's success will come from the great stories that our students and our alums and our faculty live and tell. I just finished a book that helped me understand better about how we can tell our stories. The Last Days of Night is a historical novel about the lives of Thomas Edison, George Westinghouse, Nikola Tesla, and told by lawyer Paul Cravath. It is about pioneering the electrical industry in the United States. It's a great book. You should read it. And I want to share two quotes with all of our honorees this evening. The first is from Mr. Cravath, an attorney who was working with Edison and Tesla and Westinghouse. And here's the first quote. What would it feel like to be a creative person, to experience the eurekas of Edison, Westinghouse, and Tesla, to thrill at their inventive madnesses? I try to imagine how they might feel in that moment of pure inspiration, but I can't do it. I do not invent. I solve. Problems come across my desk, and I solve them. Questions answered, mistakes corrected. If you ask me a question, I am exceptionally good at providing the right answer. But I'm not the sort of person who comes up with the questions. I want to repeat that last line. I'm not the kind of person who comes up with the questions. My challenge to each of you is to be the person who can solve the problems and give the right answers, but also to strive to be the person who comes up with the questions, thought-provoking questions, and sometimes questions that can't be answered. Being a person who can ask the questions, who is inventing and creating, sounds amazing and would make for a great life story. But listen to how Edison responds to Mr. Cravath. This is Edison. I create things, things that did not exist before. I bring new things into the world. This is what discovery is all about. But now listen to what Edison says. It's not a flash of color. It's not a moment of divine inspiration. It's not the hand of God reaching down to press the pointed finger. It's work. It's drudgery. It's trying 10,000 different shapes of bulbs, then trying 10,000 different air fillings, then, yes, 10,000 different filaments. Then it's trying 10,000 times 10,000 times 10,000 combinations until you find that one of them works. When you have exhausted all the possibilities, remember this: you haven't. In closing, my challenge for each of you is that you will pursue a life of passionate curiosity and lifelong learning, and that you will embrace the extraordinary commitment and determination described by Edison. But remember this: we will be watching you. We want to tell your stories. President Lambert has always said that the world needs Elon graduates. Why? Because we believe that you can ask the questions that will change the world, just like Edison, Westinghouse, and Tesla. Congratulations. Elon is so very proud of your accomplishments. You make us all proud. Well done. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. House. Good evening. My name is April Post. I am a senior lecturer in the Department of World Languages and Cultures, and as president of the Elon chapter of Phi Kappa Phi, I'd like to welcome you again and thank you for coming tonight to celebrate the accomplishments of our initiates and of our organization. Tonight, we have the privilege of having one of my good colleagues and one of the most beloved professors at Elon, L.D. Russell, here to share about what the love of learning has meant to him. Professor Russell is a senior lecturer in religious studies where he has taught in the areas of world religions and religion and culture since 1993. He is faculty co-leader for the Sacred Space in the France Winter Term Program in Paris and Montpellier, and chair of the residentially linked faculty subcommittee of the Global Neighborhood Association. He is also faculty advisor for Theta Alpha Kappa, the Religious Studies Honor Society, and for Students for Peace and Justice. He is a member in good standing of the American Academy of Religion, the Southeastern Commission for the Study of Religion, and the Honor Society of Phi Kappa Phi. In 2014, he was awarded the Algernon Sidney Sullivan Good Samaritan Award, and in 2016, he received the Gerald Francis Faculty Member of the Year Award from the Elon University Student Government Association. Professor Russell received his BA in English from Furman University, his Master's in Divinity from Southeastern Baptist Theological Seminary, and his MA in Religion from Wake Forest University. He has also completed doctoral coursework at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. His book, Godspeed, Racing is My Religion, was published in 2007, and his article, Hip Hop, the Soundtrack of Revolution, was published in the Journal of Teaching and Education in December of 2012. For several years, he was a contributing writer for the Independent Weekly. 2 of his short stories have appeared in Old Hickory Review and another in Blind Iguana Press. His story, The Whining, earned second prize in the 1993 North Carolina Writers Network Fiction Competition, and his essay, The Reflecting Eye, won the grand prize in the 2001 North Carolina Writers Network Writers Competition. He is currently working on a book, Into the Mystic, exploring the various cultural manifestations of religion in the history of rock and roll. Please join me in extending a warm welcome to Professor Russell.
Hello, everyone. I'm not intimidated at all. I am truly grateful for your presence here with us today. It is a distinct honor to speak to such an esteemed group of lifelong learners, younger and older. And I'm deeply grateful to my dear colleague, April Post, for this opportunity to share my thoughts with you this evening. Let me say a heartfelt welcome to parents, grandparents, families, friends who are here. If you're a parent, behold your child and accept our congratulations for a job well done. Also, I wonder if we could give a round of applause to the inductees. You should think of this moment as your karmic reward for all the hard work you've done. Every paper you have sweated and fretted over, every evening in the wee hours, reading blurry-eyed, all of those moments put together, right? The successes, the not-so-successes, all of them come together in a moment like this, and look what you have accomplished. You have every right to be proud. And I would be remiss if I did not give a shout out to my beloved tribe of intellectual adventurers. You know who you are, that band of merry pilgrims who've explored life's mysteries alongside me in the classroom, across this lovely campus, and overseas as well. I am so proud of you for being here and grateful to have shared some small portion of your journey. And I want you to remember my mantra. Once a tribal member, always a tribal member. Now, the motto of the Honor Society of Phi Kappa Phi is, let the love of learning rule humanity. And in that spirit, I would like to dedicate my remarks this evening to one of my personal heroes, Dr. Phil Wynn, a man who spent his life not only pursuing the love of learning himself, but also laboring tirelessly to make higher education more accessible to all the citizens of North Carolina. A member of Phi Kappa Phi himself since 1995 and profiled recently on the Honor Society's webpage, PW, as I call him, has long been a pioneer. During the Vietnam War, he was among the first black platoon leaders to lead troops into battle as a sergeant in the United States Army. He later spent more than a quarter century as the first black president in the North Carolina community college system. Of this time, he has said, I was engaged in the noblest form of recycling to provide the first, second, third, or last opportunities for adult learners to achieve their goals or get on the right pathway to become lifelong learners. Providing open access, low barrier opportunities for learning was something I was proud of in my community college days. Now, I share this quote because, as you may know, one of the most important ongoing emphases here at Elon University, and one of the manifold reasons I love this institution so much and have for so many years, is ensuring that a first-class education is accessible, not just to the privileged few, but to all who are deserving and, like you, willing and eager to do the hard work necessary to achieve excellence. Now, since 2005, PW has served as the first vice president for Durham and Regional Affairs at Duke University and is set to retire later this year. I'm grateful for his example and support throughout my own career, ever since my first teaching gig in the University Transfer Program at Durham Technical Community College under his leadership back in the early 90s. I wish him the very best as he, true to form, plans to spend his retirement catching up on all the many years of reading he's been too busy to do while fulfilling the duties of these positions. A lifelong learner indeed. To the task at hand. Have you ever heard the ancient Chinese curse, may you live in interesting times? What did we do in our last lifetimes to deserve being born into this? I mean, good grief. Every day, it seems, brings a new challenge, another insult to the mind and the heart, an unexpected and often inexplicable threat to those things we hold most dear, our essential oneness with each other, regardless of race, religion, sexual orientation, or nationality, and with all creatures, great and small. Our interdependency with and responsibility toward this pale blue dot on which we live and move and have our being, as well as many of our most important social institutions, the press, the intelligence community, and the rule of law itself. As in times past, around the world, it seems, once again, fascism rears its ugly head. Neo-Nazis march in the streets of American and European cities, and democracy itself sometimes appears to be under siege. Day in and day out, it's enough to make one wonder if the time has not finally come when, in the somber words of W.B. Yeats, the sinner cannot hold. I do not think it is inaccurate to say that at some level we are experiencing a form of social trauma. And it should be noted that some among us have been suffering such slings and arrows for many, many years, generations even. I see this trauma up close and personal in the pained eyes of students and colleagues as they share stories of sexual harassment, assault, and rape. I hear it in their strained voices as they react to the police shooting and the next shooting and the next shooting of unarmed black men. I sense it even in their bowed heads and stony silence after yet another incident of mass gun violence. Let me suggest that the cumulative effect of all this violence and mayhem constitutes a wounding of the human spirit that, if left unaddressed, can result in a kind of inner deadening and atrophy of the capacity for hope. And on the grand scale, dear friends, that wounding and its scars are as grave a cause for concern as we have faced in a generation. Sorry to be Debbie Downer, y'all. And so the question becomes, where do we find hope in such a time of erosive insults against those things we hold to be sacred? How can we find our way through this toxic cloud that blurs our every step and stifles our every breath? I would suggest to you the possibility that the answer is right here in this room with us today. Look around you, look within you, and behold the future. From where I stand, right here in this podium, I am looking into the faces of the leaders of tomorrow. And that may sound cliched, but you will find out soon enough that it is not. And here you sit, having equipped yourself through the help, the support, the guidance of parents and teachers and mentors with the thinking skills, the writing skills, the teamwork and networking skills that will light your path, our path forward. And by so doing, I truly believe that you can and will lead us toward that brighter day when we will have renewed and strengthened our commitment to the core values that have always held us together. E pluribus unum, unity in diversity, and the lived realization that goes to the very heart of what it means to be fully human. As long as one of us is oppressed, is abused, none of us is truly free. The common good is our good. Think about it. You, young people here, are part of the generation that apparently has finally had enough and is willing to say it out loud and then do something about it. When revelations of sexual misconduct at the highest levels of our society arose, this generation responded with the Me Too movement that has freed so many from the stigma of speaking up about sexual assault, created a sense of community and solidarity among survivors and supporters, and helped so many others understand just how widespread this problem is. When videos surfaced of unarmed men of color being killed by police, this generation created the Black Lives Matter movement to bring attention to the realities of institutional racism and inequality, giving voice to long-buried pain and renewed opportunities for our nation to finally own up to its original sin. When mass shootings occurred in our schools, this generation started the Never Again movement to encourage and, if necessary, force elected officials to address the epidemic of gun violence that plagues this country and terrifies its own citizens. Elon students have been actively involved in each of these movements and helped inform and inspire others of us to greater levels of understanding and commitment. Oh, what a time to be alive. President Barack Obama has recently said, "Our history is defined by the youthful push to make America more just, more compassionate, more equal under the law." This generation of Parkland, of dreamers, of Black Lives Matter embraces that duty. If they make their elders uncomfortable, that's how it should be. Our kids now show us what we've told them America is all about, even if we haven't always believed it ourselves, that our future isn't written for us, but by us. So this is your generation. This is the kind of social change, the time of history that will be your legacy if you remain committed to a life of educating yourself and others on the important social issues of your day, even as you develop the crucial skills needed to communicate and cooperate, not just with those on your side, but especially in this divided age, with those with whom you disagree. We need to figure that out. We need to figure that out. And at the risk of wearing out my welcome, and just in case you might think that I'm being partisan, I would love to share with you a story about Elon students. It's the fall of 2016, and I'm teaching a Core 110 class. Now, that's called the Global Experience, all first years. And I'm doing in that classroom what I do in every classroom, and if you've been in my classroom, you know this, right? I am building what I call a tribe of trust and of vulnerability and of a willingness to go there, to go to places that are awkward and difficult, in part because they are awkward and difficult. And it's early October, and things are starting to really roll, right? And the conversation is going one day, and I'm so happy I'm over in the global neighborhood. And then I realize there's some people in that room who aren't speaking up. And it's as if I finally figure out why they haven't said much all semester. And so I stopped them. I said, you know, what's happening right here is wonderful. Thank you for bringing it, okay? But look around you and see who's talking and who's not. And I'm going to just take a guess about why the ones who are quiet. It's because they're more conservative. And they don't feel safe in this room speaking up, expressing their view, right? And so I said, I looked at the silent students and I said, look, you need to talk to us. You need to speak up. Because if we don't hear your voices, we're not really having a conversation, right? And then I looked at the other students and said, you need to let them speak up. Because if you don't, then you're basically just echoing each other, right? And then I did that thing it took me a long time to do. I just stood there. And I waited them out. And finally, God bless her. I'll always be grateful to her. She raised her hand. I said, Elena, she said, I'm conservative. And here's why. My parents are conservative. My family is conservative. And here's how I'm going to vote in the election come November. I'm like, okay. And I waited to see if the other students were going to jump on her. They didn't do that. They engaged her in conversation. And a few minutes later, here comes another one. All right, and here. And then, about 10 minutes in, a third student says, I'm not voting for either one of them, him or her. I'm going independent. I'm voting for Gary Johnson. I'm like, okay, now we have the American populace. Let's talk, right? It was wonderful. It was wonderful. Then comes the election in November, right? And walking into that classroom the next time, I think you can tell by looking at me which way I lean. I lean a little towards the left, right? Yeah, at the left. And so I was just, gobsmacked by the election, right? And I walked into the room and I said, in a way, we've been building toward this moment all semester. So what do you got? What do you got? I'm so happy my man won, and here's why. Now, I'm so sad my woman lost, and here's why. And why did I vote independent anyway, right? We learn as we learn. I don't know. And so that went on for a little while. And then there was a pause. And I hope that I can even get through this story. Because it might be the most important thing that's ever happened in my classroom. A student who had told us earlier in the semester, he had talked about his struggle to not only to realize his own sexual orientation, right, in himself, as difficult as that can be, but to come out as gay on a campus and in a society where, that can be problematic. And what he said was, this election for me was not about win or lose. It wasn't about winning or losing. It says something to me about who I am. And I don't feel safe. I don't feel welcome. And he was weeping. He was weeping. And as he spoke, several of the other students in that room, and it did not matter whether they were conservative or liberal or independent, they got up out of their seats and they went over to him and they hugged on him until they knew that he was going to be okay, at least in that moment, right? And the same thing happened with an African-American female, tough as nails, and she's sitting there with tears in her eyes, talking about how difficult it is for her to get up in the morning and walk out of her dorm room, not knowing what's waiting for her outside, right? And again, they went to her, and they helped her through that moment, right? It was just one of the most remarkable moments I've ever witnessed in my life. And I say that because I think they might have shown us the way forward. The issues we are dealing with are bigger than partisanship, right? They are more important than this or that. If we don't work together, who knows, right? And I think one of the ways that we can is by staying open-minded, learning, lifelong learning, right? And so let me just close quickly. I'm sorry if I've gone over time. As an aging hippie, right, who thought we'd have all this mess straightened out by 1980, right? We were, after all, an optimistic generation, and man, was I ever wrong, right? And I have worked decade after decade to bring about change, right? Only to watch as we fail again and again to live up to our true potential. So let me just say to this generation as clearly as I can, I am so glad you're here. We've been waiting on you for a long time, And you need to know that some of your elders, like me, we have your backs. We have your backs, okay? It took you a long time to get here, but I'm so glad you finally showed up. Now let's get this done. Long live Elon. Thank you so much for coming.
I knew better than to wear mascara when LD was going to be speaking. So I just want to thank him so much for inspiring us and sharing those personal stories. It really means a lot. And here's a small gift of appreciation.
Oh, thank you so much.
Good evening. My name is Donna Van Bodegraven. I'm an associate professor of Spanish in Elon's Department of World Languages and Cultures, and I'm the past president of Elon's chapter. It's my honor right now to recognize the charter members of Elon's chapter of Phi Kappa Phi who were here when the charter was signed and the chapter was founded in 1995. Would any members who are charter members of our chapter please rise and be recognized? And thank you so much for your music, Vicki.
Good evening. My name is Shireen Al-Gamal. I am an Arabic lecturer here at Elon's Department of World Languages and Cultures. I want to extend my congratulations to the inductees. And as the president-elect of the Phi Kappa Phi chapter of Elon, I would like to extend a special recognition to Professor April Post as she concludes her 2-year tenure as president of the chapter. And we have and as I start to assume my responsibilities, I know that I have very big shoes to fill, but I also know that I have a lot of support and care that April has always been generous to extend. Thank you so much.
So I was inducted into the Phi Kappa Phi Honor Society while a student at Elon in 2000 and have been an officer for the past 13 years. I acquired a love of learning at a young age from my Grammy. I spent hours learning how to read in her lap, memorizing all the names of her plants in her garden. And I know that the investments she made in me as a child have led to the excitement I get anytime I learn something new. This is my second year serving as president of our Phi Kappa Phi chapter, and I would like to briefly highlight a few of our accomplishments that were made possible with the hard work of our officers. By the end of this year, we will have held 2 general membership meetings, hosted an elevator speech workshop in collaboration with the Student Professional Development Center, selected one of our members for a competitive National Fellowship Award for graduate school, had an article accepted for publication in the Phi Kappa Phi Forum magazine by 2 of our members, tapped students and faculty for induction, and held this amazing induction ceremony. As you can see, being a part of this honor society is much more than a line on a transcript. There are many benefits to membership, and I hope that all of our new members will take advantage of those. Our primary purpose on this occasion is to initiate into Phi Kappa Phi qualified persons with superior academic achievement and good character. Committed to its motto, "Let the love of learning rule humanity," Phi Kappa Phi promotes academic excellence in all areas of higher education and recognizes outstanding scholastic achievements by students, faculty, staff, and alumni. Rhonda Belton, an alumnus of Elon University and member of Phi Kappa Phi, will now briefly summarize the criteria for election of candidates.
In accordance with national standards for Phi Kappa Phi membership, our student candidates are selected from our undergraduates who have 72 or more hours of study or at the top of their respective classes. Our graduate candidates have completed the majority of their coursework and are at the top of their chosen field. In addition to students, our chapter is permitted to elect annually a small number of outstanding faculty, professional staff, and alumni chosen on the basis of academic record, professional achievements, and service to higher education. Dr. Jeff Stein, a Phi Kappa Phi member and Chief of Staff from the Office of the President, will now present the history of Phi Kappa Phi.
In 1897, 10 students at the University of Maine, assisted by the university president and interested faculty members, founded the Lambda Sigma Eta Society, an academic honor society open to college students obtaining high academic standards regardless of their academic discipline or their gender. In 1900, with strong support from the presidents of the University of Maine, Pennsylvania State College, now Pennsylvania State University, and the University of Tennessee, the society became a national organization. The society was renamed Phi Kappa Phi from the initials of the 3 Greek words of its adopted motto. Because the society accepted members from the newer technological disciplines as well as from the traditional fields of arts and sciences, many early chapters were founded in the emerging land-grant colleges and universities. Inductees, today you join one of only 300 chapters of Phi Kappa Phi in the US, Puerto Rico, and the Philippines. Founded in 1995, the Elon University chapter has participated in many national and local events. Your program highlights our achievements.
As seen by the representative items around the stage, the symbol of the society is composed of the badge, the seal, and the ribbon. The badge is the terrestrial globe with the sun's corner extending behind it in 8 symmetrical and symbolical configurations. The sun has traditionally been a symbol for the source of truth and knowledge that enlightens the world. Derived from the 8 divisions of general education common in 1900, the 8 equivalent rays represent the equal value of truth in all academic fields. Encompassing the globe is a band with the Greek letters Phi Kappa Phi. This band represents the bond of fellowship that binds all lovers of learning to a common purpose. The seal of the society has the badge at its center. The badge is bounded by a crenellated line that represents the walls of Troy, a great city produced by ancient technology and celebrated in the greatest of Greek poems. Above this boundary, there are 3 stars which honor the 3 original member chapters. Below are the words founded 1897. The seal is completed by a line representing the circle of fire that the ancient Greeks thought enclosed the whole visible universe. The ribbon of the society portrays the meander pattern common in Greek art, suggesting that enduring values and ideals of learning promoted by Phi Kappa Phi.
The first word of the Phi Kappa Phi motto is philosophia, thought to have been coined by the 6th century Greek sage Pythagoras. The word philosophia is translated by our society as the love of learning. The second word of the motto is krateto, and is a verb meaning to rule. In our motto, the word has the form of a strong exhortation that calls on us to let the love of learning rule. The last word of the motto is photon. Occurring in ancient Greek poetry and drama, it means mortals, in contrast to the immortal gods. To us, it refers to all humans, all men and women, and translates to humanity.
You have now been instructed on the most significant points of Phi Kappa Phi. You have heard the aims and purposes of the organization and the ideals that characterize its members. Through your scholarly achievements, you have demonstrated that the love of learning is an important part of your life. We ask you to commit yourself to continue the search for truth to benefit humankind. As your name is called, please come forward, sign the membership roll, receive your pin and certificate, and an official welcome to the Elon University chapter of Phi Kappa Phi. You may then return to your seats.
Okay, let's begin. We're going to start tonight with our alumni. It isn't often that we immediately find our passion in life. For Bobby Surrey, it has been a great adventure. Bobby graduated from Elon College in 1973 as a science major. His first stop was for the love of science as a park ranger naturalist. His next stop was as a police officer and forensics detective in Newport News, Virginia. Bobby found he had a talent working with young people and had an opportunity to work within the local school system. He completed his teacher certification at Old Dominion University and began teaching science and became a middle school principal. Bobby found his passion and completed a master's degree in education at the College of William and Mary, and since 2004, he has been the principal of Menchville High School in Newport News, Virginia, which is one of the most diverse high schools in Virginia. When you walk in the door, administrators greet students. On any given day, Bobby might conduct a National Honor Society induction ceremony, congratulate a student office assistant for receiving an appointment to West Point, and speak in an assembly for at-risk students who have successfully completed their requirements to move from their sophomore year and graduate on time with their class. Bobby was selected as the Tidewater Science Teacher of the Year and the first recipient of the Newport News Council of PTA's Principal of the Year. His hard work and dedication to his students, their families, and the greater Menchville High School community is priceless. Please welcome James Robert Bobby Surrey to become a member of Phi Kappa Phi. Our next inductee is Dr. Keebler Williams. Dr. Williams, a 1998 Elon graduate, is an education planning and development consultant for the Office of Charter Schools within the North Carolina Department of Public Instruction. In this role, she works with charter schools to ensure legal compliance, board performance, financial integrity, and academic excellence. Dr. Williams began her career as a teacher and later served as an assistant principal, a principal, and a central office administrator in North Carolina public schools. She earned her Elon degree in elementary education, where she was a North Carolina Teaching Fellow, an Isabella Cannon Leadership Fellow, and an Elon College Honors Fellow. She earned a master's degree in school administration from North Carolina State University and a doctoral degree in educational leadership at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, where she was the recipient of the Patrick W. and Janet R. Carlton Award for Dissertation Research and Educational Leadership. Dr. Williams has served as a member of the Elon University Board of Trustees since 2008 and was elected secretary in 2014. She is the first African-American female elected to the Board of Trustees and is featured among other distinguished African-American alumni on the Elon Wall of Fame. Dr. Williams also serves as chair of the Board of Trustees Campus Life Committee, a member of the Executive Committee, and a member of the Alumni Affairs Committee. She previously served as a member of Elon's National Alumni Executive Board. In 2010, Dr. Williams was honored as Elon's Distinguished Alumna of the Year, and in 2015, she was presented with the Gail Fonville Parker Distinguished Alumni Award. Welcome, Dr. Williams, to Phi Kappa Phi. Okay, we're going to continue with our faculty and staff inductees. As I call your name, if you'll please come forward. Carolyn DeFrancesco. Janet F. Fuller. Francois Mabanza Masuka. Congratulations to our faculty and staff initiates. Next, our graduate students. Nick Cook. Sarah Elise Donahue. Jeffrey P. Drummond. Kendall Shea Dysard. Michelle Christine Fadul. Stephanie Manning. That concludes our graduate students. And now for the undergraduates. Betsy Albritton. John Amend. Stephanie Atias. Amanda Bingaman. Sarah Natalie Bornman. Jamie E. Bettino. Drew Bowman. Laura E. Braley. Sarah Branchfield. Caitlin M. Brozick. Alyssa Rose Caffrey. Lindsay Carter. Laura Clarkson. Michael Dickey-Goros. Hannah DeBrogos. Michael Harris Dreiser. Mary Emmerling. Christine English. Kayla Marie Irvin. Catherine Elizabeth Evans. Hannah Franklin Gillette. Emily Frizzell. Caitlin Fu. Hannah Greenfader Dimmel. Emma Gresh. Caitlin Hartman. Kat Hartman. Casey Nathaniel Hayes. Jacob Hayward. Megan Hurt. Lindsay A. Hopkins. Sarah Huber. Emily Hughes. Noor Amjad Yirshadat. Aaron T. Jenkins. Samuel D. Jenkins. Lucy Jones. Ilana Kaplan. Molly C. Kearns. Mary Ellen Kempf. Christina Kennedy. Emma Kupkowski. Emily Erin Winifred Lane. Elena Maria Lastowski. Megan Olivia Lucas. Ian H. Main. Valerie Medlin. Natalie Omat. Kristen O'Neill. Emma Ott. Hannah Lou Parker. Tara Marie Patterson. Abigail Phillips. Catherine Pearson. Cassandra Louise Provencher. Kelly Marie Quinlan. Caroline M. Red. Maeve Elizabeth Riley. Joe Rodri. Amanda Ruvalo. Louisa Marie Scholler. Liet Maya Shuflida. Naya Spearman. Maxim David Struble. Catherine E. Supa. David Joseph Timming. Alex Toma. Sarah Wasserman. Laurel A. Wind. And Helena Zach. That concludes our undergraduate initiates. Will the new members of Phi Kappa Phi please rise? Initiates and guests, the motto of the society is, "May the love of learning rule humanity." Initiates, will you now repeat our motto in unison with me? May the love of learning rule humanity. By virtue of your superior scholarship and supported by good character, I declare you to be members in good standing of the Honor Society of Phi Kappa Phi. I encourage you to maintain membership and activity in the society, and may you always continue to merit this high honor. I congratulate you and wish you well. Ladies and gentlemen, friends and family, please join me in welcoming the newest members of the Elon University chapter of Phi Kappa Phi.